Hey everyone, it's Duc. Welcome to Build Interactive Social Networking Apps. This is a sample chapter from the course. For more information and sample chapters, please visit me at developerinspirus.io/social. Hey everyone, it's Duc. Welcome back. In this video, what we are going to do is we will implement this Stretchy headers. So here's what the app will look like after this video. We will implement this view controller. It is a view controller that have a table view, and inside this table view we have a header, and this header is a stretchy headers. So you see that as we stretch it down, the image provides a very nice visual effect. It's like we are zooming out, zooming in, and as we release that, it will become its normal stage. It creates a very nice effect, right? And a lot of you who are using the Yahoo Digest app, and this layout is heavily inspired by this app. So this is a very wonderful design, right? And later on, as we port the home view controller into this stretchy header view controller, and as we scroll into a very into a certain amount of scrolling, then we have this pull to close. Okay, and as we pull too high or too far, then we can dismiss this view controller, right? So let's learn how to do this. And if you are not following along the previous tutorial, then check it out. This the starter project for this tutorial right down below. It will be the reason why I separate into different videos, and I want to implement really smartly about this, because these view controller, it can be just plug and play. It means that later on in your personal project, you can just copy, paste, and you're good to go. You can just plug those view controllers, change some names, and you're good to use those in your project. Okay, so that's what we will try to implement as independently as possible, so that the code is not tight coupling. Okay, so let's learn how to do this. I will go back to my project. This is my project so far. So let's go to the main.storyboard. In the last video, we checked out how to create this home view controller with carousel like a lot of interest, and we can just scroll left and right to go to this collection view. If you haven't checked out that video tutorial, I highly recommend you to check it out before going any further into this, because as we dive more deep into the course, we will need more information about the previous one. Because in the very first few videos, you see that I go a little bit slowly. I take more time to explain things. It's very much like when we are dealing with Sketch. The very first video, we explain everything, but later on, I assume that you are getting much more familiar with those concepts. So I would love you to check out the videos in a sequence of videos. Okay, that's why this course is designed like this. Okay, so here is our home view controller. Let's drag out a navigation controller, and the reason why is I will tell you later on when we port this one into the other one. Okay, so I will drag our navigation controller, and let's place it somewhere like this. Let's close that. Right, and actually in this one we don't need a table view controller. We do need a table view, but I don't want it to be in a table view controller. So I will delete this table view controller and just drag out a normal view controller like this. Okay, so I will assign this view controller to be the root view controller. Right, and then we don't want to have this kind of the navigation bar, so let's turn it off by using the top bar to none, like that. The top bar into none. Okay, and then we have the top bar to be none. So next we will have a table view. So let's drag out a table view. Instead of using a UITableView controller, we'll use a table view and make it like this. Okay, and don't forget to right click and change and assign this view controller to be the data source and the delegates of this table view. Okay, and I will apply auto layout to that. So it should be 0, 0, 0, and 0, and we update the frames. Then that should be it. All right. So what about the header view? The header view is actually just a view. Okay, just a normal, a generic UI view. So I will drag out a UI view right down here, and then drag it to the top like this. Actually, it should, yeah, it's like that. Okay, you should make sure that it should be like inside the table view. It is sub view of the table view. Okay, just like that. And then we want the height of that just by default to be 200. The height to be 200. It should be like this. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is we want to have the background image of this table, of this header view. So let's drag out an image. That is my image. So here it is. Now let's apply auto layout for this image view with this header view. Okay. So there it is, just like that, and update the frames. All right, and make sure that it is everything is attached to the super view. Okay. So next, let's assign this image to be the R1 and aspect field. Okay. Don't worry if this image doesn't look nice right now, but it is. We will do what we need to do after this. Okay. So next, I will drag out some labels for some information about this interest. The first label is here, and that is the system. Actually, right now at this time of the screencast, Apple just introduced the San Francisco system font for iOS 9, OS 10, El Capitan. So I think that in the later videos, when we finish most of these features, we will change the font of the system to the San Francisco font. And as you notice that in our sketch design, I attempt to use the San Francisco font because I heard the rumor before that Apple will use the San Francisco font for the iOS 9 and OS 10 El Capitan. So that's why we will use the San Francisco font. Okay. So the colors, let's use the white color, and this is the system. Let's make it just 12. Okay. And for this, I want it to be pulled down to close. All right. And let's make sure that the frame is correct by clicking. All right. And then I want it to be centered horizontally and centered vertically. I'm sorry, centered horizontally. All right. So I would do that like this. Control drag into that. And I want it to be centered horizontally. And how about do the like this? And let's do the top space. So let's go back to the size inspector. The top space is 8 is fine. And let's update the frames for this. There you go. That should be good to go, right? Next, let's drag our label, a very big label for our interest title. That should be, I think it's 2032. Okay, so again it is white. This is 32. Press enter and travel around the world, something like that. All right. Next, let's have another label for the number of members and number of posts, like this, and make it white, just 12, right? And this is maybe 120 posts, just for the sake of the prototype. And let's duplicate that, and then we have the number of members. Why is it so? Yeah, it's 8. Maybe just leave it as 4 because this is 12. It's very small. And then we have 12 members. Let's say. So just 4. And the way I can see that this numbers is I just hold the Option key. It's very much like what we do with the sketch, right? Alright, so next what we will do is we will drag out a button over here so that we can use the button. So here is my button. Actually, the first I want to have a blur view like this, and this blur view should have the width and height of 30, and then I will drag it so that it has the same baseline as that. And so next, let's have the everything in here to be set up with auto layout. So this one is good. Let's have this one to the left, to the not horizontal. I want it to be the trailing. So the travel around the world, let's drag it to the view, the header view, have the leading space, right? And drag it to this, have the vertical spacing. To this, have the horizontal spacing. And for that, let's click it like this to have the width and the height. And in Xcode 7, after we click width and height, there's a button down below that allows us to add the constraints. Okay, this is actually a very nice improvement, because like nice adding features, because a lot of time we just add around and we don't know what we just did. Okay, and we want it to be the horizontal spacing. Okay, so for that we want to update the frames. Oops. Okay, let's see. It says the frame for the travel around the world will be different at runtime, and the vertical position is ambiguous for the visual effect view. So we will need to have this vertical spacing, and we are good with that. And for this, let's update the frames just for that. Okay, actually I want it to be 8. Let's delete that one. Control drag horizontal spacing. Okay, and then let's do this, the down vertical spacing, horizontal spacing, and for that vertical spacing, and again horizontal spacing, right? And what do we have here? Okay, now for this travel around the world, maybe we would want it to have multiple lines, because a lot of time the title for that should be like quite big, right? So we want that to be multiple lines. So let's go over here and change it into 0. Okay, and now let's drag out a button for that. Button, and for this one it should be 30 by 30. All right, and make it center like this. All right, and also I don't have this button as button, but want to change this image. So let's open the assets, right? XC assets, and I also prepare for you some of the close button. Here is on the close button. Let's drag it out like that. Okay, you can download right down below. All right, so that is the button, our button. And then I will change this to the close, and we have the button. And then we will have a sign like this, add the constraints. That should be good. How about adding another one? No? Okay, maybe doing like this. Okay, it will do its job. Alright, next we will create a class that will subclass from UIView for our header view like this. So I will go over, click into this, and then I will add a new file. and that should be Cocoa Text class, and I want it to be we want it to subclass of UIView, and let's call that the interest header view. Interest header view. Okay, and I will just place it here as normal. And now because of this interest header view is not belongs to our home screen, so let's create a new group from that, and we will call this is the interest screen, and we will place it somewhere down below here. Okay, so here is our interest header view. What we want to do now is I want to declare some IB outlet variables so that we can connect all the elements inside our header view to code. So what we want to do is we want to have the background image view, we want to have the interest label, title label, we want to have the number of members label, number of posts, things like that. So let's delete everything like this, and then we will start to declare IB outlet and wick var, and then we will have the background image view, and that is UI image view. We also have the interest title label, that is of type UI label. We will have the number of members label, members label of type UI label. We'll also have the number of posts label, UI label. And let's have the pull down to close label. Pull down to close label. And it is of type UI label. And maybe you also want to have the close button background view, the blur view that we use, so that in this header view we can configure that, so that we will have a square, a circle background view. So we will use close button background view that is of type UI view. Okay, so that is that. Now what else do we want to have from this header view? Because each of these header view is it will display some of the most important information about an interest, right? We will have the title, we have the header, we have the number of posts, number of members, things like that, and we also have the featured image, right? So what we want to do is our data source in this, or our model in this, is simply just an interest. So we will have a mark of public API, and that will be var interest of type interest, right? And just like what our didSet method, we will have a didSet, just like the cell, right? Just like our home screen, and we have the interest collection view cell. And now in the interest header view, if we set this interest, then we also want to update UI. Okay, then we will write a function private func update UI, and then in here we will configure those elements. So let's do that. We will have the background image view dot image equals background image view like this equals interest dot featured image. We also have the interest title label. The text equals interest dot title. We have the number of members label dot text. That equals interest dot number of members. We have the number of post label dot text. That is interest dot number of posts. Okay. What else do we want? Those things by default, I want to have the pull down to close text label to have the same text like that. So let's do that. Pull down to close text label dot text equals pull down to close. Okay, and also I want to hide this pull down to close text label, because we will set this pull down to close label the hidden property accordingly to the amount of as we scroll down the scroll view like this, as it will not, like by default it will not display. Okay, so we want to do the pull down to close label.hidden equals true just by default. Okay, and what do I got here? The number of members, an int, so we have to use string interpolation here, right? Because this is an int. And also for this, okay, that should do the job. Alright, next I want to have layout subviews, so that when the views lays out its subview, I want to configure this the close button background, so that we will have the rounded close button background. So let's do that. View layout subviews and super.layout subviews. We always need to allow the superclass to get a chance to do its job, right? So I want to do the close.layer.corner radius. Let's do it as close button background view dot bounds dot width over 2. So because the bounds dot width is the width of this background view, if we do it as over 2 for the corner radius, then we'll have this one as a circle. Next, we also have to set the layers mask to bound property into true, so that it will clips the subview. Close button background view dot layer dot mask to bound equals true. Then everything will be on set. Alright, so what else for us to do? We also need a class, a view controller class, because this is of type view controller, right? A view controller class to set up everything in here, and we will set up the header view for this. So that will be in another video. In the next video, we will learn how to do this. We will learn how to do everything we need to do to set up this stretchy header. In this video, we lay out the foundation for everything. We design it in the storyboard. We create the header view subclass, and now in the next video we will implement the actual stretchy header feature. So I see you in the next video, and I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to post any comments right down below, and I will be glad to answer all of your questions. Thank you for watching this sample chapter from View Interactive Social Networking Apps. I hope that it is of great help to you. This is a course I designed to help developers learn to design and make prototypes, start developing beautiful apps with great care for design in mind, help designers to start making their own apps. One important part of this course is a foundation for you to connect your app to the world by using Parse as a backend service. For more information and sample chapters from the course, visit me at developerinspirus.io/social. Till next time, go out there, learn new things, craft your ideas, and contribute to the world.